let's get it going, boys. A lot to get into tonight, right?
Well, yeah, it's a leap year, so we're recording on February 29th.
Yeah, leap day.
But it's a leap day, leap year, but it should March Madness, right? I mean, that's what
Right.
we're going to get going with, even though it is February 29th. March Madness well underway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I
For high school
coined it.
basketball, anyway.
I coined it as February frenzy because it's one of the rare years where the district championships taking place on March 1st, but the other preliminary games in February. So let's start right off there, man. We got hanging in the future. I'm not going to talk too much about it because games got to be played tomorrow night, but there is a potential of a couple of area undefeated teams possibly meeting in the regional opener. I can't tell you. It's been probably since the mid 70s since there's been any kind of game like this in the tournament. I think Durand had a tremendous team back in the 70s, and they went over to Ovid Elsie. Ovid Elsie was undefeated. The Ovid Elsie gym, you've been there. It's a smaller gym, even though they have the upstairs balcony, which they don't use anymore with stands. It was jam-packed. There was people behind the baskets, 3 and 4 deep. It was incredible. And what I'm leading into is the potential of an undefeated Chesaning and an undefeated Langsburg team possibly seeing each other.
That'd be incredible. So both of them obviously have to wrap up their district. So yeah, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch type of thing, but
absolutely.
That would be an amazing matchup. Area teams, not only they're both doing really well, they would both be undefeated in the region. I mean, and it would be where did you say the game would be played?
Jackson Lumen Christie, and
So
it will be on Z92.5 irregardless. Chesaning's playing Ovid Elsie, so whoever wins that one is one of our core bases anyway. So we're going to that regional game no matter what. But yeah, it's at Lumen Christie, and like you said, they got to get there. Langsburg started out. They had a bye, obviously, and they picked up a pretty hard fought win over Perry, 69-55. Xander Woodruff, kind of a quiet 29. How can you say quiet 29? But it kind of was, I guess. Mitchell George chipped in 14. Chesaning made it to the district finals. They downed Montrose 67-32. Mason Struck in the regular season finale against Ovid Elsie, broke his nose, but he played, had a mask on protecting that beak, and had 18 points, played very well. Their point guard's been a 4-year starter, Nate Ferry. He had 14 points, and they're a fun team to watch. They really are. We had their head coach, Matt Weigel, on a little earlier on this podcast. They're playing well.
I really enjoyed talking. I thought that was a great conversation we had with him. I came leaving that interview with Coach Weigel. Like, I really like this guy. I'm really rooting for Chesaning come district time. So we had Langsburg's coach on too as well, Beebe.
Tim Beebe, right?
It should be an awesome matchup. It's like, Ted, it's got to be one of those moments where when you walk in that gym, it'll be filled with people from Langsburg, people from Chesaning, where you almost got to pinch yourself and wonder, is this really a game I'm calling? I mean, I never thought I'd see that. Knock on wood, we're not there yet. When people are listening to this, maybe this matchup has already been set. But like you said, 2 unbeaten teams from Shiawassee County or just outside of Shiawassee County playing in a regional matchup. It does not seem real. It really does.
Well, they got to get by Friday night, and Chesaning's got to get by a good Ovid Elsie team that gave them a battle last Friday night. Ovid Elsie beat New Lothrop Wednesday evening, 42-34. Tucker Loynes and your favorite, Trice Tokar, Jared, had 10 points each. Flint Powers ended Durand's season, 81-65. Railroaders finished 19-5. Their best season since the one I was talking about, the 77-78 21-win squad. And Flint Hamady ended Corunna's season. I think the Cavaliers played maybe even a little better till the very end than I thought they would against the Hawks. It was a 1-possession game with just a hair over a minute to go. Corunna down, and then Hamady went on a quick little streak to close it out. Like I said, 46-37. But Braylon Social led the way with 16 points in that one. So the Cavaliers finished 500 on the season.
They missed their chance to have the just like football chance. Those are always classic when you have a football matchup and then you meet up again.
Those are a gut punch, are what those are. I mean, I've had to hear that when we've lost Lake Fenton. I'm sure, Matt, you probably heard that in a couple of bigger games, against South Christian back in your days. So it's a gut punching chant when you hear that.
It is, but it's a classic. So what was I going to ask you? Chesaning with Mason Struck.
Yeah.
he's playing, right? I mean, broken nose. He's just going to put a mask on, right?
Yeah, he had a mask on the other night, and he's playing. I was talking
Yeah.
to his mom, who's a scorekeeper, and he had a banged up elbow on that fall to the floor, and
Jeez.
she was more concerned about that. But he didn't show any ill effects. He had some awful sweet moves around the basket, and he shoots a good jump shot too. So it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup tomorrow night against Ovid Elsie, a game you can hear right here on Z92.5 or here on Z92.5. And girls basketball, they're going to be moving into their districts next week. Ovid Elsie down Genesee Christian 62-31. The Marauders 19-2 on the season now for Coach Cunningham over there. He picked up recently his win number 200. So he's got a nice career going on in Marauderville.
It's a lot of W's. I was going to ask too, before you move on to your other thing, I had two things.
Yeah.
Corunna's first game, was it against Flint Southwestern?
No. Well, yes, it kind of was.
So that's what I was confused. I saw it as Flint Southwestern, but it's like, are they the Dragons or something?
It's really strange. What are they called? Now I've drawn a blank. It's not Flint Southwestern. They go to school at the Southwestern building.
Okay.
Right? But it's the Flint Jaguars. It's
the Jaguars.
The only school in Flint city limits. It's the only one left, the storied programs of Flint Northern and Flint Central and Flint Northwestern, they're all gone, and it was an interesting basketball game. They showed up wearing black uniforms. They were supposed to be the whites. So Corunna immediately shot 2 technical free throws and the ball to start the game and never looked back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not to hammer on the Jaguars, but my parents were Flint Southwestern alums.
Right.
And then, we played Flint Southwestern was still a thing when I was in high school. So we played them. And then when I saw advertised as they played Flint Southwestern, and then I saw the uniforms and it said Jaguars. And I was like, wait, what's happening here? They didn't just change over to the Jaguars. There must be something else going on. So, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, well,
I could have looked it up, but I was like, you know what, Ted'll clear this.
Yeah, I kind of know it, but the other media out there still calling it Flint Southwestern, so I get the confusion.
I'm looking up Flint Southwest. It's like they're a community. It's like one of the weird schools where they're considered a community. I don't understand how that works, but what I'm seeing is Flint Southwestern Jaguars community is how their Facebook is titled. So
very confusing. Why would they change their nickname? That's crazy.
Right.
Jaguars are perfect nickname, man. That's like I don't know a single other high school maybe in the entire country that's the Jaguars. But,
well, it was an interesting game, and Corunna won it anyway. And I'll just wrap up the prep spotlight again. Brought to you by Jacobs Insurance Agency, by the way. Owasso swim team. Hey, tremendous season this year. They posted a 6-0 record in the Flint Metro League regular season, and then claimed the undisputed championship by winning the league meet. Trojans won the 400-yard free relay and the meet's final event, and Blake Binger won the 200 freestyle. So, Owasso, they have some difficulties sometimes in some of the sports, but man, send some accolades out where they pick up the championship in swimming. Congratulations. That's a big achievement.
It is. You don't hear about swimming and diving very often, but
right,
it's a cool sport. I don't know if you guys, have you ever been to a meet?
I have. They're very exciting.
It is very exciting, especially if it's, a couple good teams,
Yeah, you get some swimmers coming down the wire, and like the 200, and it's just a touch out to win. It's like when you watch it on the Olympics, but it's cool being actually at the pool. I was at Corunna's Olmsted pool a couple times, and yeah, it's exciting. But it is hot and humid in there too.
It is hot. You have to step out every once in a while. Say, I gotta get out of here for a minute.
It's like the steam at Memorial Healthcare.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that really does it for the prep spotlight. But big district action tomorrow night. It's Langsburg taking on Stockbridge, which Jared, you got a little scouting report, and Stockbridge is the real deal themselves, right?
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's like, outside of maybe Chesaning, it could be Lanesburg's toughest test, leading up to maybe a potential trip to the Breslin. So that's what makes the districts, there's always a tough team in your district. It feels like a lot of these teams end up making runs to the Breslin. It's like, man, we won a game in the district final by 1 point. That kind of seems like what it could be like for Lanesburg tomorrow night. From what I've heard, Stockbridge has a stud center that's 6'7", 6'8", and that's a team you never expect to be good. Stockbridge, for my days, we would beat them by 30, 40 in football every year. So it's really cool to see Lanesburg, who's not normally there, and a school like Stockbridge, who the winner of that's got basically a pretty clear path to the Breslin outside of a big matchup against Chesaning.
or Ovid Elsie, because don't count Ovid Elsie out against Chesaning tomorrow night. That's the game 3. Chesaning beat them the first 2 times, and the old cliche is it's tough to beat a team 3 times, but Chesaning does have the home court, so we'll see what happens. So it'll all shake down tomorrow night in district final championship action. All right, we'll be back.
One last thing before we sign off. I could have looked it up again, but how's your brother? How's Freeland doing? We've heard a lot about Freeland in the prep spotlight. Are they still alive?
They have a big game tomorrow night against the last, could potentially be Saginaw Arthur Hill's last basketball game tomorrow on Friday. So as we know, Saginaw Arthur Hill and Saginaw High, kind of sad. I mean, Matt, this is probably unbelievable for you to hear. Ted, obviously you as well, for living in this area for the last 40, 50 years, Mid-Michigan. I mean, Matt, it was kind of Saginaw High and Saginaw Arthur Hill's heyday back in the early 2000s. When Jason Wilkerson was rolling through there and those type of guys. So now it's crazy to think that all-time rivalry, the High versus the Hill, is no longer a thing, unless the High and the Hill both win and they could face each other in regionals. But yeah, it's a big matchup for Freeland tomorrow night. I'll be there. Versus the High, or the Hill. My brain is like scattered tonight. I don't know if it's because we're recording late. We took a week off, but I feel like I'm not bringing my A game. So next segment, once we get talking to some sports potpourri, I'll have my A game for everybody. So
all right, take a drink of water, regroup, and then we'll be back right after this with our potpourri.
Jacobs Insurance Agency has served Shiawassee County and the surrounding areas since 1977. Just like 3 Point Podcast, we've had 3 generations: Gary Jacobs Sr., Gary Jacobs II, Brian Jacobs, and myself, Noah Jacobs, serving our community with offices in Waterford and Owasso on M21, just west of Home Depot. Stop in or go online to jacobsinsurance.com to get a quote or get your questions answered by our team. Jacobs Insurance is a proud supporter of our local schools and the proud sponsor of the Prep Spotlight. Insure everything, local, independent, and trusted. It's our family working together to protect yours. That's the Jacobs way.